Hey everybody, Regina Andler here, and welcome to Coffee with Regina. I have my good friend Nayanda Morre with me today, and Nayanda is actually she teaches at a college in. Um, Welcome first, Nayanda.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Where tell us where do you teach writing?
I teach writing at City College. They have a continuing education for older adults, Center of Worker Education. So I teach downtown there, where my students are like us, going back to school after a long absence. And I also teach at NYU. I teach our traditional students in their writing. And
So when you
I've also taught summer classes where we take first generation students and give them the college experience. So I've helped hundreds of students write their college essays. So that's my writing.
Wow, so you do a lot of when you say downtown. So you did say NYU. So you're in New York. So
Mhm.
whereabouts in New York are you?
Right now I personally live in Harlem. And
Mhm.
so down for me, downtown would be the Wall Street area. And
Awesome.
City College has a campus on the Wall Street area, CWE, where I work. And NYU is in the village. So it's between downtown and not quite close to uptown. I would say it's in Chelsea area. Yeah, it's NYU is spread out. So, I mean, I could be anywhere on campus. The whole
So
campus is NYU. So,
so do you
yeah.
get like a wide variety of types of students that you work with?
I have worked with students from 16 to 65, all teaching writing, different aspects of writing.
Yeah. Now I know you and I have had conversations about what you do and outside of the college scene too about helping people write their lives. And I put in the little promo that I did when I mentioned about Write Your Life. This isn't about writing a book. I'm getting inundated lately with people on Facebook that are all talking about writing a book. And it's how to write your book, how to write your story, how to make it into a book, how to become an Amazon bestseller, all this kind of stuff. You just help people organically just write. It's not necessarily for writing a book, it's to
No,
write, just to write.
right. I think it's important for people to get that story off of their chest, no matter what story it is. So there's so many benefits to writing, to journaling, to relieving the stress, to talking about the hurt, to opening up to new ideas and allowing the creativity to flow in. So yeah, I I like to give my friends, my clients, little things to write about, and I think the most provocative piece is the letting thing the letting it go piece. Write down the things that you need to let go of, and I find that once you exercise that and you see that, it's like, I didn't know I was holding on to so much. It's like, and it's just so therapeutic to get it off your chest, to feel like
Yeah.
lifted.
Yeah. Um, I used to journal back in the day because I had a background with relationships that wasn't, stellar.
Mm.
The jerk magnet kind of thing where, I was like out with the wrong people, treating me the wrong way, doing that
Mhm.
stuff. And it created a lot of angst in my current relationships as I was moving forward. And I'd be like laying in bed and all this stuff was just going through my head. And so I started journaling and I started journaling that stuff. This was a long time ago.
Mhm.
And it wasn't every day. It was whenever it was really bugging me. That was the time when it was like, okay, it's really, really bugging you. Go write it out. And so I would write it out in these journals. And I was writing all the bad stuff in
Ah,
those journals. And you know, flash forward to, a bunch of years ago, um, I had stopped. I had gotten to the point where I was like, I'm done. I'm done writing that stuff out. It's out. It's gone. I'm good. And yet I still held on to the journals.
Mm.
And they were in my drawer right next to my bed. And every
Mhm.
now and then I'd pull one out and I'd just open it up to a random page. And the thing was, is I'd start reading it and it would bring it all back. And so one day I finally had enough. And literally I had a shredding party. I had a it was all about me. I literally sat in front of the shredder on the floor with a glass of wine and all of my journals, and I took them out page by page and ran them through the shredder.
I totally support that.
And it was very cathartic. It was like releasing. When I
Mhm.
was done, it felt like a world had dropped off of my shoulders.
That's good because I don't think going back is always a good thing to do. Because like you said, you brought up those feelings in this present moment. And even though they happened before, you're still feeling those feelings now. So, yes, toss them out, have a party, and you don't have to look back anymore. You're done. And that's the one thing about journaling. When you get it off your chest, it feels like, it feels like, oh, wow, I didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know through my experience when I did that, it took a little while because I go back and read those pages, and kind of like I kind of like bring myself back into it,
Mm.
and then it was just after a while, it was like a slow but steady progress, and it was like every time I'd go in, I'd be like I was just letting go just a little bit more because like yeah, you wrote this out, let it go. And the final let go was my shredding night.
Mhm.
It was kind of, and then after that, what I found was, you say, don't go back to the past. It's not a good thing always to go back to the past.
No, not
And
always.
what happened for me was anytime something would come up, maybe I ran into an old friend from that time or something like that, because a lot of it happened around, my late teens, early 20s. And so a lot of stuff went down. And there was abuse, there was mental abuse, there was all kinds of stuff that happened. And I was dwelling on it at the time. I wrote it out, and then I'd find myself back there. And then when I had my little shredding party, that was like the end. And so now
Mm.
if I ran into somebody, from school or something like that from back then, it I was like disconnected to it. It didn't
Because
affect
you're not that person again. You're not
Yeah, it
that
didn't
person
affect
anymore.
me anymore.
Mhm. Exactly. You're not that person. And you allow that person to shed that shred.
Right, yeah.
Exactly. So it's very cathartic that now when you go back, it's you've you've kind of changed that trajectory now of who you were back then by letting it go in your present.
Yeah, it was literally like a complete shift. It was
Mhm.
like you went from here to here. It was never to go back. And so there's a lot of power in writing out what it is that all the stuff that you have inside. So
Yes.
how do you when you're talking to people about, writing their life? And again, for anybody listening to this is not about, writing a book or anything like that. This is literally about what is your story? Who are you? What is it you need to release? And how can you better get it out of you? And,
Mhm. So
Nayanda
that the
teaches
other
you how to
things
write it.
can flow through you that
Yes.
need to come out. And we need to write to reduce the stress, to reduce this block, to just get it out. Because I find that once those grudges that we hold, they manifest into something else, to some ailment, to something. And you don't even know that you're holding on to it. So I'd say find a time in the morning that works for you. I like to get up like right in between 5, but 4:55 and 5 o'clock. So it's just when I feel the earth is waking up, and I get in 30 minutes of good writing. And I used to try to combine the writing, the meditation, and the exercise all at one time, but something had to give. So being that I know writing is a meditative act, I'd start with the writing in the morning. And so I set my timer half an hour, and then sometimes I just write right through it. But I allow what it is to come through, whether I want to focus on relationships and seeing how I want them to develop, or whether I'm focusing on the next chapter in my career. What do I want that to look like? So I really try to get people to see the end result and then write words that paint the picture of that end result.
Yeah. So it's right to get rid of and write what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Write your, so it's almost like it's almost like the stages of, get rid of that past, let it go, and then where are you now, and then where do you want to be? And
Right.
it's when you
It's
think about
you have to
that.
accept the now.
Yeah.
Start from here now, because the past is done. You've already let it go. You've released all of the things that have been holding you back. And now that you're here and you get to decide, that's a powerful thing when you have a blank page in front of you. It's like, wow, what do I want to see in my life? And how can I write it?
Yeah, and that is very powerful. You use that word, that it's really powerful. It's a powerful thing to be able to do that. And I think for some people, I think they kind of like, I know some people who get kind of anxious about just the idea of sitting down and writing that out. And I think it's because they've got stuff in their head
Mm-hmm.
with the I'm not worthy, I'm scared, there's fears of rejection, there's all this stuff. It's like, I want this, but what if this
Mm-hmm.
happens? And they think about the what if the bad stuff happens. They're on that bad side of the what if. And you could actually stop and say, well, what if it worked out really good? What does that look like?
Exactly. But I say get all the bad stuff out. All that inner critic that tells you you're not worthy, that you can't write, that you don't have a story to tell, bust its butt. Do it anyway. Write it anyway and say, yeah, I can't write, but I'm doing it anyway because I have a story to tell. I truly believe that each one of us has a story to tell that would help somebody else.
Mm.
And it's not that you have to sell it. It's just to write it down and share it with someone, because
Yeah, because
it's better to get the words out the way you want to say it than trying to speak extemporaneously, because sometimes I know I'm not good at extemporaneous speaking. So, but to write it down and so you can get your thoughts in order.
yeah, and so when you were saying that, I was thinking, it was like, once I had everything written down and I had released it, because, like you said, people have stories that may be able to help somebody else. If you're still living your story, though, you can't help somebody else because you haven't helped yourself yet.
Yes, exactly. You may not even think you can help someone else because you haven't focused on you. And I think sometimes turning that pen toward ourselves, we get a little scared because, like, what if, you know, my mom doesn't like what I write, or what if so and so doesn't like my friend Monica says this, if they wanted, they know I'm a writer. If they wanted to treat me better, they should have treated me better if they didn't want me to write about it. But then, but then again, nobody has to see your work. So this is not about anybody seeing your work. It's about you just letting it go, just
Yeah.
letting it go. And sometimes you're not even sure what you have to let go until you write. You don't even know that you're holding things in until you write.
Yeah.
So,
And I could tell you that is absolutely positively true, because the stuff that I wrote in those old journals, um, it was, I would start writing something, and then, 10 pages later in a journal before I was done. And it was like, literally, it was like, I just went in to go, I need to get rid of this. And then it just flooded out.
yes,
Yeah.
I
And
love that feeling.
it was like you said, it's very cathartic. I get goosebumps now when I even say that, because it released it all. And in that process of being able to release that, now I can talk to somebody who may have gone through the same kind of thing, or maybe in the same kind of relationship that I was in. For mine, I was literally, when I was younger, it was relationships where there was a lot of mental abuse, there was some physical abuse and stuff like that. And now when I hear people who are saying, here's what I'm going through and I don't know what to do, I can
Mm,
objectively, speak with them and say, well, hey, have you considered this?
mm,
Or, help them own their own power and move out so that they are in a better place. Only because it's kind of been there, done that. And when I talk about it now, I don't go back there. It's just
no.
kind of like, it's like a subject I learned in high school, it's like, it's just something
Mhm.
that I know. I don't, I don't feel the emotions. It used to be early on that anytime I went back and read it, I would feel those emotions again. Now
Yeah,
it's gone. So now it's
yes,
like just something I know. So now I
exactly.
can help people with that.
Exactly. And that's key to know because you can't help someone unless you've been through it, unless you've gotten rid of it, unless the lesson comes back in a different skirt or a different pair of pants and you say, uh-uh, you recognize it. And I think writing will allow you to recognize those patterns that you keep making, those decisions that you keep making. And you're like, oh, so that's why I keep meeting Mr. Wrong and Miss Not Right Now, because I keep making the same mistakes. And sometimes we don't objectively see ourselves. And writing allows us to do that, allows us to
Yeah.
get it all out.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I love that idea of, the writing. We talk about all the time. I talk to my clients all the time about why writing instead of typing into a computer, because when you're typing
Yes.
into a computer, you're only using one side of your brain. You mentioned earlier that, writing is a meditative action. And so
Yeah.
when you're physically writing down, you're using both sides of your brain. When you're typing into a computer, you're not using both sides of your brain and your brain can wander off. And
And
so
you
when
tend to edit when you're typing.
yeah,
When you're writing, you don't have time to edit because you're flowing.
yeah,
And I know when I'm in that flow, I get my there's mixed up. I get my twos mixed up, and it doesn't matter because I'm just writing the words that are coming easily to me. So
yeah.
yeah, you have to just get into that meditative flow of writing. So that's why when people say it's hard for me to meditate, right? It's a meditative process. It's a quieting of the mind. It's a connection with the body, mind, and the spirit, acting as one.
So what would you recommend for somebody who is saying, "Okay, well, I'm not so sure. This sounds good. I'm not sure where exactly to start. What do I do?"
Where to start? I'd say find a writing spot. It could be anywhere. It could be at your local Starbucks if you don't want to write in your home. It could be anywhere that fosters some kind of creativity. And set your timer. Give yourself 7 minutes.
Hmm.
Just 7 minutes to write whatever pops into your head.
I like that idea. So giving yourself a timer, so a time limit to make it so that it doesn't seem as daunting. It's like, okay, you got set. It's only 7 minutes.
It's only 7 minutes. And then as each week progresses, up the time a little bit to see what happens and notice the patterns, what you're talking about. Are there any connections? What's coming through? What thoughts keep repeating themselves? And pay attention to those. And if you see thoughts that are repeating themselves, start to write about those thoughts and see what opens up from there.
It's all about digging deeper and getting more into that subconscious.
That's
And
that meditative flow that, people say, I got to sit quiet, blah, blah, blah. But you can write. You can write. And the thing is, it doesn't matter what language you write in either.
hmm,
It still is therapeutic. It still relieves stress. It still allows you to set and achieve your goals.
yeah, I love that. I love the whole idea of writing out your life just for that release because it's funny that some people like because some people kind of block out and ignore the past and yet they're present is being affected by it, because it's
Right.
still all in that subconscious.
Mhm.
It's still, so it's still affecting you. So
Even if they don't even know it.
yeah, so I think a big step for some is to just have that courage to say, all right, you know what? I'm going to go there
Right.
and I'm going
I
to
would say
write it
write
out.
about the first thing that you think of that's not working in your life.
Mm,
Spend 7 minutes on that. What's the one thing that's not working? And then keep writing about it. Keep writing about it until you find a way to change it.
I love that. I love that. That's a great idea. I love that. It's, start with that one thing
Hmm.
that's not quite right yet and figure out,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm already thinking in my head, if I start writing some of this stuff out, it's going to be, oh, as I'm writing it, I'm going to discover it. Oh,
Yeah.
duh, that's why it's not working. I,
Exactly.
I'm going to actually write my own answer.
And this is what I tell a lot of the people I work with, that the answers are within.
Mhm.
All of your answers are within. You just have to take the time to dig. And
And
it's a
have
personal
the
dig.
courage. Yeah, have
Yes.
that courage to dig.
It's a personal dig. And you have to love yourself enough to go there. You really do.
Yeah. Now I know you have some stuff that you help people do this, and you have a program called Write and Sip.
Wait and
Tell us
sip.
about Write and Sip.
Write and sip. Well, I started it during the pandemic, for some of my former students, so that we can kind of keep a community of writing going. It used to be on Friday nights, so because I wanted to mimic having drinks after work. Um, but now it's changed to Sunday brunch. We do a write and sip Sunday brunch every first Sunday, and so we have. I'll give out some prompts and allow our participants to just let it go, just to write whatever it is that's on their mind. I'll give prompts, I'll give writing scenarios, things like that. And then we'll share our work afterwards and see what comes up. It's always fun though. And I do that on Zoom now.
So if somebody wanted to learn about Write and Sip and they wanted to get involved with it, is it just for your college folks or is it for anybody?
It's for anybody. You can email me if your email address so that I can put you on our list and let you know when our next write and sip will be. It will be 1st February coming up. So yeah, my email is Nayanda. I can actually, you want me to put it in the chat?
Sure.
Nayanda@nayandamore.com. That should be easy.
There you go. And that makes it really nice and easy. Is it on your website for them to be able to?
Yes, nayandamore.com is on my
Oh,
website as well. So yeah, under nayandamore.com, if you click on CEO, you'll see write and
let's
sit.
see. Did I type that in right?
Yep,
Nayandamore.com.
that's right.
Awesome. So yeah, so if you want to attend a Write and Sip, and it's a free thing that you do, right?
Yes, it's free. I mean, I don't want to charge people to write. I want them to just be free to just get whatever ideas they have out of it. Because what we come up with is totally different. It's funny, it's poignant, sometimes it's eye-opening, it's always different.
And I know that you also have been helping folks with, ideas with journals that you've created so that they can, point to journals for certain things. Tell me a little bit more about the journals you've created. I know you got a bunch of them.
Yes, I started Write Your Life journals because, like you, I have a lot of journals, and they are all different. They're loose leaf notebooks, they're spiral notebooks, they're bounded, they're unbounded. So I'm like, I wanted to create some focused journals. So I did a few journals. One like letters to my son, Notes to my son, notes to my daughter, because I found letters that I wrote to my daughter when she was small, and I was a new mom, and they're in a loose leaf book with loose leaf, and I'm like, I couldn't find a journal to put this, and so I just wanted to create some focused journals that you can just grab and put in your purse. You can take it on a flight with you. Um, and it's flexible. So, you're not like, oh, precious journal, you don't want to lose it. It's fine. It's fine. But the idea is just to have it with you so that when you have an idea, when you want something, when you have something to write, that you have it with you and you can write it down, because our memories are not are not functioning the way they used to. We can't remember all the telephone numbers we used to remember. Now things we have to write it down. So I just wanted to have journals where I can carry with me.
And so there's a bunch of different ones. I know you have a bunch of different ones. So all anybody has to do is just go to Amazon and put your name in.
Amen. And you'll see all the Write Your Life journals that I've created. I'm trying to create one every week, because every I have a list of focused journals that, like, yeah, we can write about that. And I just created the travel one because now I am feeling the need to travel. And so I know there's travel stories, and I know families have food stories that they have created, memories around foods that they've enjoyed and shared with one another. So I've made a journal to create family memories about food. So yeah, it's just a little bit of everything.
Oh, that's awesome. So it makes it so much easier too, because for those folks who may be going, well, I'm not even sure what to journal. And it's like, just sit down and start. Just write whatever comes to your head. What's not
Right.
working right now, or what is working right now? What do you want more
Exactly.
of? And
Exactly.
then you have these topic journals that help you focus so that you can do it that way.
Right. Especially the one that I like the most is Notes to My Younger Self. That will, I mean, if you don't want to start anywhere, start with Notes to Your Younger Self.
I love that. Notes to My Younger Self. That's the name of the
Right.
journal?
Right to that young person. Encourage them. Let them know that, things aren't half bad, I
Yeah.
mean, I like that. I like, Notes to My Younger Self. I've done that quite often, just to let her know that it's not all that bad, that it gets better.
Yeah. And that's an amazing conversation to have with yourself.
It is.
Yeah, especially when we reach our certain age.
That
and,
we're not talking about.
and that we're not talking about. Actually, I love my age, so it's okay.
Ditto.
But I turned 60 this year, and there's a lot of wisdom that comes with age. And when you reach a certain age, and I'm going to say it's somewhere maybe it starts around your 40s and starts building from there. All of a sudden you start thinking back to the stuff when you were younger and the stuff that happened. And it was I think it was in my 40s that I actually did my shredding party with my journals. And so it was like, because I had reached that age, and that was all of a sudden like, why are you still going there?
Yeah.
All of a sudden there's like this realization. And so at that point I did that. I looked at it, I was like, if I was going to talk to me then as who I am now, what would I tell myself? And yeah, I was kind of hard on myself. I was like,
Ooh.
what are you doing, girl? I mean, it was why are you even with this person? Why did you put up with that? And yet at the same time, my brain understood that it was the process. It was what you went through. There's a reason for everything, and that was just what you went through. And it led me to where I am today. So what I do now today with my business consulting with people is I help them get through all of their stuff,
Yes.
whether it's that personal stuff or the business stuff, so that they can
Everybody
be
got some stuff.
successful. Right. And so whether you're a business person or just a person out there who just has stuff that you need to let go of, and then
before you
stuff
can
that you
even
want.
see what's next. Because
Yeah,
some of us, we can't get past today because we haven't let go of yesterday. And so we are like, okay, it's just another day. Where am I going? When am I? It seems like the same old thing. But I'm telling you, when you let go and you start digging and you start loving who you are, where you are, and the possibility of what you can write your life, what it can look like tomorrow. Oh, my goodness. I tell my students that if your dreams do not scare you, they're not big enough. And I know I got that from somewhere. I know I heard it from Oprah first, but I don't know who else said it. But I truly believe it. So, and so when I tell them to write their dreams, write the biggest dream possible. And what does it look like? And use those feeling words so that you can get goosebumps when you read it. It shouldn't be like, yeah, I went to the store, we did this, but no, fill it with adventure, fill it with color, fill it with movement. And then you have something. If you can feel it after you read it, you got it.
I love that. That is it all tied up in one big happy little bow. I love that. And what I love the most about all of that is the whole idea of writing to release so you can let the new stuff in, because all of it's energy. I talk about energy all the time, and all of that stuff, everything is energy. And when
Hmm.
you're holding on to that icky energy, it
Yeah.
stops the good energy from coming in. So writing helps you get rid of the icky energy so
Hmm.
that it opens up for more of the good stuff to come in.
Exactly. And then you can get the goosebumps and then you can feel, woo, yes. I know
I
after I write a good piece, I feel like, yes, yes, yes.
I love that. This has been a great conversation, and now we are up on our time. So I love the idea about the right in your life. Underneath the show here, we will make sure that we put the information in there so that you have it if you want to join one of Nayanda's write-in sips. So that sounds really cool. And so you're doing the Sunday brunch. Does that mean we can bring mimosas with us?
You can bring mimosas, you can bring sangria, I don't care.
You bring coffee,
Hey,
or
yeah,
whatever you want.
many of us bring water. So,
And then also, Nayanda's got that whole set of journals out there. So if you just go to Amazon and just type in Nayanda Morre, you'll see the list. I've seen the list of her journals out there, and there's a journal for everything. And so
and more coming, as well as I'm doing my workbooks too. So yes, I finally released something last year, and I'm very proud. So thank you, Regina, for having me on and being that accountability buddy that everybody needs to have when they are creating something. You find your friend, find the person who's going to champion you.
yeah, I am so happy to have met you. Actually, Nayanda and I met during a Jack Canfield event. Go figure. And we became accountability partners. And so we've actually kind of been on our journeys together with what she's
Exactly.
doing and what I was doing. And so it's been a fascinating journey for both of us, I think, along the way.
Definitely.
So thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you,
us
Regina.
here.
Thank
And
you.
for all of you out there in virtual land, thanks for joining us live. And for
All
those of
right.
you who get the replay, put in hashtag replay on the comments, and we'll make sure that the information for getting a hold of Nayanda and her journals is out there. And we'll see you next time on Coffee with Regina.
Bye bye.
Have a great one, all. Bye for now.